Hello, sisters and brothers. Our devotional for today, for July 4, is a reflection on My Utmost for His Highest, a series of devotionals written and compiled by Oswald Chambers. You can always find the link for the daily devotional at utmost.org. And for today, we're going to turn to Psalm 37, which has one of the great openings of the Psalms, one of my favorites. But we'll read verses 7 through 9 of Psalm 37. Be still before the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. Chambers titles this devotional one of God's great don'ts. Do not fret, it only causes harm, from verse 8 of Psalm 37. Fretting means getting ourselves out of joint, mentally or spiritually. It is one thing to say, do not fret, but something very different to have such a nature that you find yourself unable to fret. It's easy to say, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him, verse 7, until our own little world is turned upside down and we are forced to live in confusion and agony like so many other people. Is it possible to rest in the Lord then? If this do not doesn't work there, then it will not work anywhere. This do not must work during our days of difficulty and uncertainty, as well as our peaceful days, or it will never work. And if it will not work in your particular case, it will not work for anyone else. Resting in the Lord is not dependent on your external circumstances at all, but on your relationship with God himself. Worrying always results in sin. We tend to think that a little anxiety and worry are simply an indication of how wise we really are. Yet it is actually a much better indication of just how wicked we are. Fretting rises from our determination to have our own way. Our Lord never worried and was never anxious because his purpose was never to accomplish his own plans, but to fulfill God's plans. Fretting is wickedness for a child of God. Have you been propping up that foolish soul of yours with the idea that your circumstances are too much for God to handle? Set all your opinions and speculations aside and abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91, verse 1. Deliberately tell God that you will not fret about whatever concerns you. All our fretting and worrying is caused by planning without God. So, as someone who has experienced generalized anxiety for a number of years, I always try to argue with this point that there's something where I should be able to worry about. There's something that I should be able to argue, or something I should be able to be anxious about. But Chambers hits it right on the head, where really it's about having my own way in the sense that I want to be in control of certain things. Whether we're worried about the past or worried about the future, it's the same thing that it boils down to. We want to be in control of that situation. And I don't have the perfect solution for this for myself. It's something that I'm working on. But the more that we surrender our desires and say, okay, God, no matter what the circumstances are, I know you can handle it. I know you will cover me. I know you're faithful. I know you're good. Then, as Chambers points out, even in our most difficult times, if we can rest in God, if we can trust God's plans, then it's so much easier during the peaceful days. It's so much easier during the good days. And I'll admit, I have experienced worry, fretting, anxiety, even on days where it seems like I shouldn't. There's no reason to. But it again boils down to, if my life were turned upside down, what would I do then? And even on those apparently good days, I'm still trying to make sure that I've got everything figured out. And that's something that I just simply need to surrender. There's no way around it. So if you find that to be the case for you, where your worry, your fretting, your desire to be in control of something, whatever anxiety you might have, if that's coming from a place where you want to be in control of the circumstances, you're going to have to let that go. And I do too. We have to rest in God's unchanging hands and on the rock that we stand on. Thank you as always for listening. Be safe and stay well.